image of Lucifer, the adversary, the proud angel who stands against the tyranny of oppressive and restrictive spirituality, the narrow-minded perception of a God whose very name is centered in jealousy and oppression of anyone, not only within his tribe, but outside as well. Lucifer stands proud and against all powers that represent ignorance, monotheistic supplication, and the weakness of the mind. In our modern time, how lucky are we that Lucifer comes forth in not only modern media, but from around 1100 AD onward as a great fallen angel who, like Prometheus, one of his origins, brought the black flame of consciousness, intelligence, to humanity. What do humans do with the gift of the black flame? All pre-Christian cultures manifested the Luciferian spirit. The fact that Christians and all of the Hebraic doctrines have pushed forward that Lucifer is actually a devil created by Yahweh, the Jewish God, and that all of us are either going to go to an anti-nature concept of we've either been good, so we go to mindless bliss, or we've been evil, and we burn in eternal fires and torment. I can tell you, much of the work that I've been conducting in the past few years, which has kept me quiet, has been on the reestablishing of the foundation of Luciferianism. Little did I know years ago, in working through the texts that became Luciferian witchcraft and all the grimoires after, that my daemon would instill upon me to bring back, in my own small way, the old gods, all of the deific mask, gods, demons, spirits, that were great, balanced, prideful, essentially, almost in an excellent way, warlike, peaceful when need be, and explored the darkness and the light within and outside in nature. It's one of my great privileges that I hope to establish foundations for all of these old gods, that everyone who buys and reads one of my grimoires enters the circle of Luciferian witchcraft, the adversarial doctrine, the ideology, may not only understand all of the meaning behind Lucifer, but also all of the deific masks and archetypes, symbols that made the image that we see today of Lucifer. The point is not to combat Christianity in a way to where we dance to their specific beat, to where we have to answer allegations that we're evil, that we worship devils or demons. Most Christians have no idea what it is to worship a devil. Devils don't exist. The temple of Lucifer begins within, to where you toss aside any other preconception of any god, any demon, anything that would stand above you. You tear that down. You recognize those traits within that are the empowering aspects, which we call Luciferian, light-bringing. And then you slowly start, day by day, to build an ideology that will change your entire life. First, before magic. The image of Lucifer as the great fallen angel, as Samael, as Azazel the Watcher. All of these later Judeo-Christian adversaries are the wonderful past embodiments of the balanced perception of the gods in nature and within man prior to the plague that is Christianity and Judaism. We must dispel this death cult, if you will, seeking some afterlife that does not potentially exist, and live for the here and now, but also build ourselves towards the highest aspiration that we can attain, which is our daemon, and use magic in balance with science to shape our world here and now, to make the old gods valid in today's world. That's what my grimoires are about. The forthcoming dragon of the two flames is the reestablishing of the gods of the West Semitic or Levant or the areas of Canaan, Israel, all of those areas, to bring those gods, those Syrian gods, back in harmony with the ones presented in Mascom Whole, until we can all work with the so-called pagan deific mask as a part of ourselves, as something that we can work with both in a demonic symbolism and a non-demonic, to do all of the things that we want to do in this world here and now, to stop talking about it and to do it. That is the core essence of the idea of Luciferianism. Luciferian ideology is based around the simple foundation of not putting another image of a god, another person, anything above yourself. It starts with developing self-love, self-trust, and these foundations are building something so strong that later on you're going to ask yourself, why didn't I do this years ago? I can attest that when you start to explore the darkness within yourself, those are the things that drive you. Those are your lusts, the things you don't tell people about necessarily. Those are what you would call the carnal desires, the inspirations, the fetishes, those things which fuel your ambition subconsciously, unconsciously, in the waking world. We have to understand, first of all, as Luciferians, that we possess both a predatory instinct, the survival instinct, the will to power, as Nietzsche called it. But we have potential towards eloquent self-development, if you will. And what I mean by that is, and this is really where the balance comes in, you control those dark desires. You find legal, useful, and meaningful channels for them to manifest. People who do not control the darkness and shape it and find channels for it to be brought out and exercised will find themselves falling prey to self-destructive behaviors. The balance is knowing when to say no, enough, but also at the same time pushing yourself towards your physical, mental, and spiritual limits in the search for knowledge, thus wisdom, thus ultimately power. Power is an internal feeling, a continual feeling that you build upon. The ideology of Luciferianism, much like Satanism, is in the here and now, but there is another advancing level. That advancing level is self-development, learning and gaining knowledge by experience, by practice, to your own speed. Not everyone's going to want to know every foundation point of the various gods. Some people want to know, how does this symbol have meaning in my magical practice towards change in my life? Bottom line, the grimoires will offer that. We have to start with basics. Self-love. You have one life, so you have to make it worthwhile here and now. The one thing that I found in practices which aren't necessarily in the public arena of Luciferianism, necromancy, things like that, the shades of the dead, more often than not, essentially strive towards a living type state. You have one life here and now, so you have to shape it towards what you want to achieve. That means little things like doing what you're supposed to do to achieve the goals that you need to achieve. Not starting an argument with your significant other half just because you're pissed off. Maybe controlling it. Because when you think, you act, you say the right things, you're going to shape the world the way you want to. That is the ideological foundation of the adversarial path. People have asked about, what are my beliefs concerning hell and the existence of devils, demons, etc. Hell is not a Hebrew or Christian creation. The concept of hell being the hidden place, the realm of the dead, the chthonic aspects of the earth, relate to the subconscious and unconscious for everyone who's living. For the dead, it's something else which doesn't matter here. But nowhere in any pre-Christian doctrines or Judaic doctrines is hell described as a place of fire where everyone dies and is tormented eternally. Egyptian and various other cultures have aspects where there's fire. But fire is also a creative aspect. It's not just presented in a destructive sense. Luciferians don't accept the origin of our spiritual deific mask or symbols of gods or demons from Christian creation. Therefore, we don't believe in the existence of literal demons in the sense of God created this, therefore these demons exist. The whole doctrine has been and is being, through my works, presented as a much earlier tradition. So you can work with the images of demons now, but you're also going to have the knowledge that they're pre-Christian. The traits that the Christians and the concept of demons shows as negative is actually usually a positive. Luciferians probably spend, in the magical aspect, 2% cursing someone else, because as we use what I call the aromatic yoga aspects of control, the four hells relating to the Yutuk-Deno or the ancient Persian sorcery aspects, when you think and do things right towards your goals, even when it's tough, then you're going to have very little need to curse or condemn anyone else. Anyone who goes against you will find dismay from doing just that to you. It's a absorbing reflection, if you will, because Luciferians are always in tune that we are predators. We love the aspect of conquering our enemies and obstacles, and loving with a full heart, family, friends, and being balanced, continually seeking balance. When we become unbalanced, we strive to achieve that balance again. The Luciferian philosophy and ideology is a magical outlook and a continual growth process. Once the ideology is established, the discipline starts happening, the magical aspects start happening, then becomes the process of the daemon. When one thinks of Luciferian rituals, black magic, you think of curses, black masses, and all these inversions of Christianity. That could not be further from the truth in the actuality of practice. We utilize the symbols of complete darkness because they are part of us. Those bestial, therionic, draconian, serpent-like, wolven aspects are all a part of us and are very meaningful in our magical practice. We do not reject nature or the world of the predator. We embrace it and use it as a part of ourselves. Those who enter the circle of Samael, Azazel, the adversarial current, will find darkness is a wonderful companion. The daemon, or true will, is really based in the ancient Hellenic or Greek ruler cult, which is kind of the great grandfather concept of Luciferian ideology. All of the Luciferian gods emerged in the light-bringing sense from the Greek, ancient Near Eastern, Roman aspects. I want you to think about, when it comes to the Hellenic ruler cult, is take that and put it on an individual level. That means every individual has the very foundation, like Crowley and LaVey, Rand, all of those said, to be and seek your own path and be your own God, to be accountable for your own actions, to be able to make mistakes and not worry about something punishing you after, unless it's within lawful practice. The concept of the daemon or genius in Roman and the ruler cult is essentially the higher self, holy guardian angel, and something which represents the potential of self-excellence that's always continual. When I put the image that I've created of my daemon, Azal Lucel, or various aspects of it, upon the altar and offer incense to it, I'm not worshiping me as a man, as a person who is an author and relatively successful in my chosen path. I rather make offerings to the daemon to aspire to great heights, to continue to become and develop into a better person, for myself firstly, and then for those around me. That also connects to everything else in my life and shapes accordingly. That's how one intimately works with the concept of the daemon. Pouring libations, liquid, into the ground in offering to your daemon or a specific deific mask is making an honoring gesture to that in which will return to you through your conscious and unconscious actions. Very important in Luciferianism. Black magic, calling upon, if you're into the demonic symbolism of, say, Goetia or the Yutuk Dinal, is embracing darkness and the carnal aspects, the lower aspects that ceremonial magicians frown upon but love to publish books about. Doing it will change your life, will make you powerful, but you have to balance it with cultivating and developing, through initiation, the daemon. That is the immortal aspect of the psyche. Long after the flesh is gone, that can continue to expand. Just like Alexander the Great, just like Anton LaVey, Kenneth Grant are gods for what they've contributed. Doesn't mean you worship them, but you may make an incense offering in thanks for what they've contributed to the world and how it's affected you. Luciferianism has unlimited potentials. And in the next few years, I hope many of you, whether you're Thelemites, whether you're Wiccan, whether you're neo-pagan, it doesn't matter. Read Mascom Hole, Goetia of Shadows, the Dragon of the Two Flames, all of the grimoires, and find and apply it, and you will see success in all of your actions. Keep the Luciferian flame burning.